Have you ever just felt so exhausted, like deep in your bones, and no amount of sleep seems to touch it? If that sounds familiar, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to dive into what neurodivergent burnout really is, that unique kind of exhaustion that comes from trying to live in a world that wasn't really built for your brain. Let's get into it. Wow, this quote it hits home, doesn't it? For so many people, getting a late diagnosis isn't some kind of sad endpoint. No, it's the key. It's the thing that unlocks a lifetime of confusing experiences. It's that moment where you finally stop thinking you're broken and realize you just got the user manual for your own brain. All right, first up, let's talk about the burnout you can't see. And I really want to be clear here. This is not about feeling a little tired after a long week at work. This is something much deeper. A profound state of being that is often completely invisible to everyone on the outside. For settlers, so here's the simple, straightforward definition to ground us. Neurodivergent burnout isn't just regular stress. It's the total cost, the cumulative price you pay for constantly masking, for dealing with sensory overload, and just the sheer effort of trying to fit into neurotypical boxes. It's this deep, nagging exhaustion that feels like you can never, ever escape it. And this gets right to the heart of the matter. Masking. From the outside, you might look like you've got it all together. You're high functioning, you blend right in. But on the inside, it feels like you're on stage, performing 24/7. It's not that you aren't struggling, it's that you've become an expert at struggling in silence. And let me tell you, that performance drains your battery faster than anything else. For social smarts, now take a look at this list. Does any of this sound familiar? If you're nodding along, I really want you to hear this. You are so not alone. This is basically the shared experience for so many people in our crowd. Maybe you've noticed that simple tasks suddenly feel impossible. That's skill regression. Or maybe loud sounds or bright lights are just unbearable now. The key takeaway here is that these are not personal failures. They are signals from a nervous system that is in crisis. Often, this long, slow burn leads to a critical moment, a turning point. And for a lot of us, getting that diagnosis late in life isn't bad news at all. It's actually the lens that finally brings a whole lifetime of confusing, frustrating experiences into sharp, clear focus. But it's so important to talk about the complicated feelings that come with it. It's this wild mix, you know? On one hand, there's this incredible, overwhelming sense of relief, like, finally, it all makes sense. But that's often followed by this wave of grief. Grief for your past self, for all the support you never got, and for all the times you struggled without knowing why. For strategists, now, I know this whole process can feel messy and chaotic, but there's actually a framework that helps make sense of it. It's called the dual process model, and it basically shows us that healing isn't a straight line. You'll actually bounce back and forth between what's called loss-oriented coping, which is processing the past, and restoration-oriented coping, which is all about rebuilding your identity for the future. It's a dance, not a race. And this right here, this is the big aha moment. This is the hidden pattern that changes everything. All those years you spent feeling like you just weren't trying hard enough or that something was wrong with you, it was never a personal failure. It was simply a mismatch between what your brain needs and what your environment was demanding of you. That's it. So, okay, once you have this new perspective, what do you do with it? What's the next logical step? Well, it's about finding the right kind of support. But listen, not all therapy is helpful, and it's absolutely crucial that you know how to find a therapist who actually gets it. For settlers, I want you to think of this slide as your practical, safe shopping guide for therapy. These are the green flags to look for. Do they say things like autistic person and ask what you prefer? Do they understand that stimming is a super important tool for regulating yourself? A huge red flag is anyone who seems focused on fixing you or managing your behaviors so you can fit in better. Because really, it all boils down to this one simple idea. Good affirming care isn't about changing who you are at your core. The whole point is to learn how to work with your brain's unique wiring, instead of constantly fighting a battle against it. It's about building a world that fits you, not the other way around. And that leads us perfectly into our final section, how to actually build your own recovery toolkit. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day things you can do to create a life that's genuinely sustainable for your nervous system. Okay, for all my planners out there, here's a simple 4-step framework to guide your recovery. It starts with rest, and I mean real rest, radically cutting back on demands. Then you replenish by diving back into the things that actually fill your cup. Next, reconnect, because honestly, finding your people is life-changing. And finally, reconstruct. This is the big long-term work of creating a whole new definition of what a successful life looks like for you. For explorers, now here is a concept that almost nobody talks about unless you're deep in these circles. It's called a sensory diet. And no, it has nothing to do with food. It's a personalized plan of small sensory activities that you do on purpose throughout the day to keep your nervous system from getting overwhelmed in the first place. It's proactive, not reactive. So what does that actually look like in real life? Well, here are just a few ideas. These aren't just weird quirks. They are essential tools for self-regulation. Think about it. Things you might have been told to stop doing your whole life, like fidgeting or needing quiet, we're now reframing them as vital acts of self-care. This is about finally giving your brain what it needs to feel good. And let's just be crystal clear about this. None of this is about self-improvement or trying to become more productive. This is not about fixing yourself. It is simply about creating enough safety, enough support, and enough understanding so that your nervous system can finally take a deep breath and just exhale. I really want this to sink in before we finish. Every single coping mechanism you ever developed, every time you masked, every time you pushed through that exhaustion, that was not you being lazy or failing. That was you adapting brilliantly with the information you had at the time. The diagnosis just finally gives that brilliance a name. For social smarts, so please remember, burnout is not a life sentence. It's a signpost. It's a giant flashing arrow pointing you toward a more authentic way of living. It's about stopping the endless struggle to fit in and instead starting the beautiful work of building a life that actually fits you. Our whole community knows this is a journey. So my question for you is, what is the first, tiny, small step you can take today to start building that life?
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family. Save this for more meaningful content ahead.